I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
There was something about it on the internet last night about, I think something getting approved about the smart grid.
It's a very good idea. It would make a huge difference if it's implied right and if it actually works.
That's the direction we're moving, but I don't know a lot of the details.
I think the smart grid is either using less energy to smarten up the grids of the power stuff, or one central power grid, all linked together.
Grid is the power lines that start from the power plant, go through the transmission towers, then go through the distribution circuits, and then finally connect to the house. So there's a lot of miles and miles and miles of wire that has to become smart before the grid can actually be called a smart grid.
The digital network is being put on top of the 1950s analog power network, because the power network will still exist. It's just how we operate the power network will get more sophisticated by bringing on digital control.
So the opportunity for us is to fundamentally drive to the most reliable, secure grid we have, load it with renewable, good, clean resources available to us, mitigate our need for that energy by driving energy efficiency and really focusing on getting demand down. And that's the opportunity we have together.
So we get the same weather that our customers get. We're affected the exact same way. If we get a snowstorm, we're impacted as well, trying to get to work or trying to get, our children up to school.
That was, I believe, 12 days straight, 12 hours a day, every customer without power.
With the smart grid system, it's easier to determine where those wires may actually be down on the ground.
Okay, well, if we have a storm situation where we have a circuit that comes out, so this will allow us to zoom into a particular street, and we can see, okay, here's where the problem is. We have 2 trucks that are pretty close that we can send over there right away to fix the problem and get the people back as soon as we possibly can.
Smart grid is going to be taking that information and bringing it all the way down to the homeowner, and then taking that information we gained at the home and bringing it back and making really intelligent choices. How's the system performing? Where are the loads today? Who has power, who doesn't? Did we restore everyone when we did close the device and thought we did? That kind of information being brought back makes us more efficient, and hence hopefully brings a lot of value back to the customer and hopefully to the company.
The power that's generated here, if it's not used on site, is fed back into the distribution grid. And when this building needs power and the sun isn't out or it's nighttime, it draws power back out from the distribution grid.
So the solar panels are only producing when the sun is out. The wind towers are only producing when the wind is blowing. We need a grid that can handle the dynamic intermittency of the energy supplied into our networks.
Safety is paramount to all of the operations of the grid network. So knowing when service is alive, knowing when protection devices have to be updated and modified are going to be essential operating requirements for a smart grid going forward.
The way I understand it, it should actually cost us less if they implement it right.
When you talk about the smart grid, even though there's minimal amounts of additional equipment that the public actually sees on a utility pole, they do perceive it as something more, something extra.
Before we start installing meters out in the field, typically you want to get the systems up and running and the integration back into their back office systems. So now as we start installing those meters, they're able to communicate back through those systems, and we're able to start taking advantage of the communications capabilities of those new meters.
We're going to allow customers to have access to real-time data, real-time information, and they're going to know and see the benefits of making different choices.
What I see is pricing signals coming into the home over our two-way wireless network. Devices in the home will take those prices and it'll allow customers to put in their own programming, so to speak, for their homes.
If I could see significant changes to it right before my eyes every day, that'd be very helpful.
They can say, Between these hours, I'm willing to live with a couple degrees higher temperature. Between these hours, I'm willing to have the water heater turn off for a little while. Between these hours, I'm willing to have the lights go dimmer in certain parts of the home.
So if I'm running more, well, I can take steps to correct that right away. Perhaps I'm leaving my outside light on.
Gives the customer a better deal at the end of the day and conserves.
And when you look at the intent of understanding and driving low carbon generation resources, optimizing the use of energy across the grid, and fundamentally driving down demand, smart grid is a technology that begins to connect all of those pieces. We're still in our early stages, but I see a great future in front of it.